Did you ever wonder what the difference was between Ableton stock compressor, the glue compressor? When should you use one over the other? What is a glue compressor? Let's talk about those things now. What is a glue compressor? Well, we know it as Ableton's second compressor, but really, a glue compressor is any compressor on a bus or a group, meaning that if you run a group of sounds, let's say all your drums, kick, snare, hi-hat, that sort of thing, through some light compression, but everything's going through the same attack and release ratio threshold type thing, so they're all going to start taking shape a bit, gluing them together. So then if that's the case, I could really put any compressor on a bus and a group and call it a glue compressor. So why is Ableton's compressor called a glue compressor? Well, they've utilized this theory, but they went a little bit further in the sense that back in the day, people would say that electronic or digital music didn't have the same warmth as analog. And that's because analog has circuits and tubes inside the gear, and your sound going through that picks up some of that warmth. So what people would do is take their stems into a studio and simply run them through a board. SSL board is common, and that would pick up the color of the board, and then they would bring the stems back into their session, go home and continue mixing. And they would then have the feel of analog gear on their digital music. So what Ableton did was it adds this sort of analog warmth color. It's very subtle, but it's there. And the more you add drive, the more you get this color. So in addition to a bunch of sounds being run through a compressor's attack and release together and picking up that same sort of shape, well, Ableton's glue compressor adds this third component, this little bit of warmth or color. So it's kind of like adding a filter to a bunch of your Instagram pictures that might have been taken in different spots. But as soon as you add that, whatever, Valencia filter or whatever is popular now, it all takes the same type of look. And that's kind of the benefit of the glue compressor. So does that make the stock Ableton compressor obsolete now? No way. Because I just got done saying that the glue compressor is going to add a color, and that's what's going to glue the sounds together. However, if a DAW's native compressor had color to it, everybody would say, oh, that sounds like Ableton. I could tell because of that color it's added. So most DAW primary compressors are going to be what's called transparent. And that means you're going to get a compressed version of your sound, but that's all. It's not going to sound like Ableton or sound like a glue compressor or sound like anything. It's going to be what's called transparent. So when would I use one of these over the other? Well, I hate to give you this answer, but that's up to you. Most of the time, when I'm working on a single sound and I want to just get a compressed version of that single sound, I might use the regular Ableton compressor because I don't want any color. Now, when I'm trying to use the glue compressor to add saturation, pushing it into the soft clip, that's going to add color, but it's going to give me the bite that I want. Traditionally, one might use a glue compressor on a drum bus to unify those sounds. Or if you were sound designing, maybe your snare had a couple of layers. You could use it on that to kind of uniform that a little bit. Or you could use it to push it into the soft clip and create this kind of saturated feel and use it like that. That's all up to you. By the way, pro tip, if you're going to push into the soft clip and get that saturated feel, try right-clicking on the top of that and turn the oversampling on. You'll be surprised. So I hope this was helpful demystifying the two compressors and why you would use one over the other, and really what even is a glue compressor. The next lesson will be a little more advanced in the sense that I'll show you some new and creative ways to use the glue compressor and how I use it myself personally. Alright, I'll see you there.